Pakistan, where monsoon rains and flooding have killed more than 1,100 people, including almost 400 children. Recent satellite images reveal how intense the flooding is, with rising waters creating a massive inland lake in the region. The country is experiencing its 8th cycle of monsoon rains. At least 33 million people have been affected by this flooding, which began in mid-June. Here with more on the situation is Sherzada, Concern Worldwide's Pakistan Acting Country Director. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us more about the scale of this flooding overtaking the country right now.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And the scale of flooding is devastating. The situation is getting worse day by day, with more rains are expected to continue into September. That's what we are hearing as the fresh reports from the meteorological departments. So 1/3 of the country, which is almost like equal to the size of the UK, is underwater still. 33 million people, affected. Out of 33 million, 16 million children. 1 in 7 people, affected. 3/4 of Pakistan, geographically speaking, 3/4 of Pakistan districts have been affected. Millions are homeless, millions houses are destroyed or damaged. People are living in the open, with basic sheets over their heads, with almost no access to latrines, open defecation. Waterborne diseases, and illnesses are a huge concern. There are concerns of epidemic outbursts with potential of, aggravating into pandemic if the situation, is not contained. In terms of, the agriculture, over 2 million acre of crops, wiping out with cereal and cash crops, including cotton, wheat, vegetables, and fruits harvest. Over 1 million, livestock perished. It was the heaviest recorded monsoon in the decades, the deadliest floods in Pakistan history. The government is doing whatever they can. There is some international support as well, both from the international community and UN system. But as you can imagine from the numbers, the scale of the crisis, the situation is beyond, the control of the resources they have at their disposal. So,
You're mentioning, this situation is devastating for citizens there. And it sounds like there are going to be a lot of long-term effects. You mentioned the government, what the government's doing, and also the international community. What can be done at this point in order to make sure that this issue is kind of alleviated and the damage is contained to some extent?
Well, absolutely. We know for certain that this is going to be a long haul. The recovery is going to be taking, some time, years to come. Both for the communities on the ground who are affected and the government, who will be tackling with the recovery. The long-term damages of this crisis will, of course, be, seen in the form of infrastructure. But the images that you just, showed on the screen of destroyed homes and school buildings collapsed and health facilities, washed away, bridges and, roads will remain, long after the floods water reside. But the longest, impact for the vulnerable people in the hardest to reach areas who mainly rely on the development programs from the government and NGOs like us that ultimately build their resilience to climate shocks will now need to be, redirected to aid relief, So the assistant that was supposed to be working with the community, building their, resilience to these kind of shocks and disasters are being directed, to cope with the situation, the flood relief. And now that assistance is stopped, so this is going to be, leading to some cyclical generational poverty at levels for years, to come. And you ask the right question, what needs to be done? There is an urgent need to do more, to respond timely, quickly, with some of the, life-saving critical needs, such as, provision of, temporary makeshift shelters for those who are, sleeping under the open sky with no shelter. Provision of clean drinking water, provision of latrine facilities, medical help, the health system is struggling, to reach to some of the affected communities who are, still in the water, and the staff and the teams of the health department, they are yet to, reach those areas. There are, reports of, the waterborne diseases, and the children and the old people are at great risk, if not responded with some time critical, flexible support, yeah.
Sherzada, also, I think a big question at the top of so many people's minds with relation to Pakistan is how common is this monsoon season for this region? And also, how much of this is, I guess, a byproduct of climate change? Why are these monsoons so strong that we've been seeing since mid-June?
Well, of course, the changes to the climate is the number one factor, Pakistan is among the top 10 countries which are most at risk to the climate-induced disasters, Pakistan contribution to the global carbon emission is, below 1%, but yet, if you look at where the country is placed on the most at-risk countries to the climate-induced disasters, we are among the top 10. But I think there are a couple of other factors as well, which is further, compounding the situation is the prevalence of the poverty, Close to 40% of the population, they are living below the poverty line. It's a poor country, we were about to recover from the shocks, of COVID. And then, if you look at the country's situation, there are crises, economic meltdown, inflation, the level of, and the burden of international debt. So, the country was like fighting at so many fronts, and on top of everything, the level of this crisis, at this scale. So, yes, I think it was not a usual monsoon, 7 times more rains, Pakistan has never experienced the amount of rains, received this time. It was like, it was not recorded in the recorded history of Pakistan. So it was like phenomenal,
Right.
It's huge rains, yeah.
Sherzada,
Yeah.
just about 30 seconds left with you. I want to ask what Concern Worldwide is doing right now for these communities and how other people can get involved.
Well, Concern is currently doing, some critical life assistance response to some of the vulnerable communities, hardest hit areas in the provinces of Balochistan, Punjab, and Sindh. We are providing some cash assistance. We call it, multi-purpose cash assistance to enable, the families to buy some critical items such as, tarpaulin sheets and bamboo sticks for their temporary makeshift, roofing and shelter arrangements. Other than, we are working with the health system, to reach out to the vulnerable population in terms of medical assistance. At the same time, we are providing wash kits. We call it water sanitation hygiene kits to enable their provision to the clean drinking water, because there is there are huge concerns of the outbreak of the epidemics. So we are on the ground. We are providing the support. We are scaling up, as the situation is unfolding. We are looking forward, to reach more and more, as we can in some of the hardest hit areas. Yeah.
Sherzada Khan, Concern Worldwide's Pakistan Acting Country Director, appreciate all of the work that you're doing. Best of luck and stay safe. And coming up, we're looking at the state of ad-supported streaming.